Okay, so I waited to make this video until after the patch notes came out, and I think that these 5 builds are going to be pretty strong even after the patch notes. Keep in mind they don't include all of the new support gem releases that were released this morning, but you can just take that into account and look for any supports that seem better. But I do think that these builds are going to be pretty strong at the start of Dawn of the Hunt. Okay, so starting off with Woolie's run and gun Witchunter. Obviously, I didn't make all these guides, they were made by other people, so props goes to Woolie for this one. So this is a crossbow build, it's for Witchunter. Shoot crossbow, things die, as he says. And again, as he says, that most things were buffed, and he will do an optimal pass. So I will have these guides linked below so you can just go directly to them. But for equipment, these are the uniques that you're looking for when leveling. I think that a lot of builds are going to be looking for Wanderlust, so these might be super hard to get early on. But this crossbow is usually pretty cheap. I don't know what it's like on the day of, but you might be able to get it. Thrill Steel, a lot of people want, so that's going to be pretty hard. Onslaught gives you like movement speed and attack speed, I think. And then Fox Shade and that. But, you can also just run with rares and probably be just fine. So anyways, you're using fragmentation rounds until you get galvanic shards. It's just like the Witchunter build from the last season. Obviously, not many things changed because not many things were nerfed, and it was working just fine. So why fix something that wasn't broke in the first place? Then you have galvanic shards. I'm not going to go through all of the different support gens for all of the different abilities because we have 5 builds to get through and we don't want to be here all day. But yeah, it's a pretty standard build. Nothing really changed here. He's using Herald of Thunder, and yeah, again, I think it's pretty obvious what this build is trying to do. You're using galvanic shards, and then once you unlock shock burst rounds, you're using these 4 bosses. Until then, you're using a bow with lightning rod and galvanic shards to proc the rods to kill bosses. So anyways, pretty obvious. And then here's the support passive tree. Again, I'm not going to go through all the way. You can look through it for yourself. I will have it linked in the video below. So anyways, and then, you use galvanic shards with Zealous Inquisition for those juicy clear. But yeah, I think that this build will be pretty strong if you're looking to run a Witchunter. So moving on to our next build. I never played Monk last season, so I'm not as certain on this build just because again, I didn't play it, but it looks pretty strong. This guy has it updated for point 2. It's Ronarray, and then you nuke, crit, wave, Invoker. Seems pretty strong. It definitely wasn't nerfed too hard. It uses Storm Wave for clear, and on bosses they use Tempest Fury plus Cast on Shock and Tempest Spell. Again, Tempest Spell got nerfed like 5 times, but it's probably still decent, especially if your attack speed is fast enough. It just takes like 10 hits to get it down, or you only get it after 10 hits now, and it gets destroyed a lot faster now. So something to keep in mind, but it was pretty insane before. So then he's just using rares for his equipment, which is probably just fine. He does have the Olros and Melting Maelstrom, which will definitely be super expensive at the beginning of the game, so you may not be able to get those right away. But, he goes through what you're looking for, which is all great. And then, again, I'm not going to go through all the supports, especially because, with the support update, these supports might not even be the best anymore. But you're using Stormwave and Blink and Herald of Thunder, Wind Dancer, Tempest Flurry. Again, we already went through what you're using what for. And yeah, it looks like a pretty solid build. I would definitely say that it is worth trying out if you're looking for a build and you want to go Monk. I think a lot of people went Monk, so they may be looking for other things, but also some people like doing the tried and true. So solid build. Congrats on Ronarray for this one. So moving on from Crit Voker, we have Fubgun's build. I think Fubgun's build are usually pretty strong. I started with his Lightning Arrow Deadeye last league, and it was awesome. He has changed his build a lot from the last league, and he does have it for every single level, which is super nice. He even changes, what skills you're using with each setup. Something to keep in mind just for any build is using Shield Charge and Leap Slam in your a second hand weapon slot will allow you to move around the maps much quicker. It's really great for the campaign. So that's super useful. This was learned from the races. Shield Charge lets you just charge ahead really far. Just keep in mind that if you run into an enemy like mob, then it'll stop you. And Leap Slam can actually let you leap over fissures and over walls as well. So super helpful for going through the campaign quickly. A lot of your damage is going to come from Freezing Salvo, Frost Bomb, and then Stormcaller Arrow is your just main ability. And then he goes through the different builds that you're going to want to, or different bows that you're going to want to use at the different levels as well. So yeah, I think this is going to be a very solid build, especially you can just follow it because he has it for every single level. Most builds aren't going to go in this much detail. So I think Fubgun's always a safe bet. So anyways, okay, so moving on from Fubgun's guide, we now have Grenade Mercenary Leveling Guide by ZiggyD. This one's looking pretty strong. This is his gear at the end of Act 3. So, you know, it's pretty standard. You have your Bombard crossbow for the extra additional projectile. And then you can run with the armor evasion rating gear for your rares if you want. And then we have the ruby and topaz ring for the extra resistances. He goes through a little bit and, you know, just explains what's been buffed. And, you know, most of it's been buffed. It's looking pretty solid. You start with fragmentation rounds. I'm not going to go through everything again because we just don't have time for that. You can read through it yourself if this is sounding interesting to you. But flash grenade, extremely strong early on, especially because it blinds the enemy. And it actually does quite a bit of damage too. And you're going to want to use Wind Dancer as your first spirit, just, you know, so that you get a large passive evasion increase. By the end of Act 1, you'll be using flash grenades, and then you combo the gas grenades with explosive grenades for huge damage. Both of these grenades have had their damage buffed by a ton, so definitely will do a lot more damage. However, they do have a larger cooldown now, which I don't know if I completely agree with, but that's just how it is. Then for Act 2 skills, you finally get Explosive Shot, which is able to explode both explosive grenades and gas grenades, if I remember correctly. Voltaic grenades are pretty solid as well. So he has this final Act 2 grenade skill strategy. You have flash grenades, voltaic grenades, and then gas grenades, explosive, oil, explosive shot, and then more flash grenades. So it's a pretty nice combo. This is actually how I've loved, like my very first character in the first league, I actually used a grenadier because that's what looked coolest. It obviously wasn't that good at the beginning of last league, but it was super fun. And I think, you know, I managed to get through the entire campaign just with the grenadier without a guide. If you're following this, you'll definitely be able to get through the campaign, especially now with the buffs. So he goes through Act 3 as well. You do get some new different passive or support skills that are going to be extremely strong. So yeah, and then he has your cruel skills as well. Again, I'm not going to go through everything, but very in-depth guide. Highly suggest looking through it if you want to play this build. I think this build is going to be great for the new patch. So for the last build, I saved one that's not like exactly a full build, but obviously it's the Javazon Leaguestarter. This is from Diablo 2, and it's going to be a ton of fun if it works. Basically, the idea is you go Amazon and you use lightning spears. This severely depends on how good spear is and how good lightning spear is, especially with the different supports that they added today. They did nerf Amazon like with their most recent patch notes, which is super disappointing. I don't remember exactly all that they nerfed, but like the infuse skill got nerfed, and some of the other things, like some of the damage, I think maybe on the Spear of Lunaris also got nerfed. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was sort of crazy that they nerfed Amazon before, you know, anyone's even played it. But I think it's definitely like if you want to try something new, you've already played all the Ascendancy classes. Amazon with Lightning Spear is a good option. And, you know, you have some options with the Tornadoes as well. Or you could like switch into a bleed build if it doesn't work. You have a lot of options with Amazon. She's looking pretty cool. I low-key might go this. I haven't really decided yet whether I want to go with a Javazon Leaguestarter or like a Deadeye with bow as like what Fubgun's going. I probably want to go whatever can make me the most currency bet most early on, which is probably like the tried and true Deadeye, but this is looking pretty cool. And it'd definitely be really fun to try out the new spears. Keep in mind, you could go like Deadeye with spears, so that might be better than Amazon. It's just sort of dependent on how good the crit build is for Amazon, because I think that'll probably be the strongest part of the build. But anyways, this is the last guide. I know it's not like fully updated or anywhere near as in depth as the other ones, but I just wanted to give it a quick, you know, overview. It's by Peugets, I'd assume that's how you say it. But anyways, I hope y'all found this video helpful. I just want to go through some builds that looked viable. I think that like a lot of content creators have made like top 10 or top 5 builds before the patch notes even came out, which is sort of crazy because you have no idea what's going to be good or not. Like I watched some of those videos and it was just absolutely nuts because every single build on their video was just like nerfed into the ground. So anyways, I hope y'all found this helpful. Remember that the new support gems came out, so all the support gems in these guides aren't necessarily the best in slot. If you do some thinking for yourself, like a smart person, you might be able to find a better support gem. But they do look like pretty solid guides, and if you're the type of person who can't think for themselves or want to do minimal thinking for themselves, definitely follow one of these, and you probably won't be disappointed. So anyways, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, feel free to leave a like below. I'll have one of my other videos linked at the end of this, just with general tips, stuff like that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. You're a real G. I hope you have a wonderful day. Good luck on your league starts, and I'll see you next time.